Welcome to the third and last session of Design Thinking Bootcamp. Let's have a look at testing phase. This is the final stage, but in an iterative process, the results generated during the testing phase are often used to redefine one or more problems and inform the understanding of users, the conditions of use, how people think and behave. Even during this phase, alterations and refinements are made in order to rule out problem solutions and derive as deep understanding of product and its user as possible. First and foremost, why is testing required? In this stage, we put the prototypes created in the earlier steps to test. We take a critical viewpoint to determine what needs to be improved before the final delivery of our product. We gather insights of what elements of solutions we are trying to improve. Here we can iterate the prototype, make improvements and test and so on until we can be sure that our solutions work. As we are testing just the prototype here, the test team should be completely aware of what we are seeking the answers to. Killing the ideas, which is also known as sunsetting or improvement, should be the goal here. By testing your ideas early and often, you are able to identify design flaws and usability issues before you take product to the market. This has countless benefits for you, the users, and the business. It saves time and money. It reveals unexpected insights. It improves user satisfaction. Here is the structured approach of testing phase. For this phase, we need a good test team. Each member of the testing team is required to create 5-6 questions of each prototype feature. After the initial discussion, we brainstorm ideas and summarize 2-3 questions for each prototype feature. Test things that will really move the dial. Make sure results are statistically significant. Test everything and assume nothing. Testing is not there to prove an idea works, but to assess whether it really works. Build up a knowledge base of what worked and what didn't. Prioritizing test initiatives is also very important. In order to get the answers to all your questions for testing, there are few proven testing methods. Let's see a few of them. First method is concept testing. What do you all think? Ideas first or needs first? In the very early stages of the design process, you will want to first test out initial concept before actually designing it. Communicate your idea to your target users to gauge how they feel about the concept. Let's see example of this lady. She wants to create a chatbot to provide medical advice, but she isn't sure if people would really use a chatbot. Will they trust chatbot? Developing an AI-powered chatbot will be expensive as well as time consuming. And what if it doesn't work after all that efforts? As testing the product isn't easy and risk of failure is high, she first creates the illusion of a functional digital product before producing the final version by using human intervention behind the scenes to fake the real functionality. She hired a doctor for a few days to create a realistic experience and gauge people's reaction. This process helps you accurately evaluate whether your product is ready for market. Outcome-driven innovation helps by linking companies' value creation activities to customer-defined matrices. Let me give example of Lego. Lego realized that only 9% of their toy users were young girls. They embarked on the concept of testing. They realized girls paid more attention to interior layouts and structure details. Girls also preferred building entire environments rather than single structure. These insights allowed new product features to be designed around targeted demographic. Lego Friends, a new Lego series marketed at young girls, quickly became a hit and tripled the value of construction toys for girls. Another method is tree testing. Once you have come up with the information architecture of your digital product, you can use tree testing to see how user friendly it really is. You will present the users with a tree of information representative of how your site menus would be laid out and ask them to find specific items. In this example, let's say the goal is to search libraries on the site. You then need to monitor matrices. How many testers were able to successfully search it? And what was the average time taken by them? If users struggle to locate certain information, you will need to rethink your information architecture. Tree testing is often conducted as a remote, unmoderated study, but it can also be done in person using paper prototype. Problems that appear in tree testing would arise again on a real website. By looking at the paths that respondents traversed, you can find which category they considered to be a better option for the product in the question. And of course, accordingly, change your design. Similar to tree testing, we also have a method called as first click testing. Here, as name says, we have to check where the user clicked first. Here are the steps of this method. First, present a task. You present user with a task. Be sure to give them task prior to seeing the interface so that you can measure their reaction time as well. For example, good task could be please click where you add a product to shopping cart, or please click to share an article on social media. Then display them interface. Once the task is clear to participant, next step is to show them the website, app, software, wireframe, or even a detailed sketch like shown in this diagram. Record users' behavior. Where the user clicked and how long it took for them to click. These two matrices indicate if the task was achievable as well as how difficult was it to complete it. Ask for feedback. Survey your participants to gain deeper insights into why they behaved the way they did. And then analyze your results. Keep track of where users click. You might realize that, instead of attempting to force users where you want them to go, it might just make more sense to rearrange your design to allow users to travel wherever they are naturally flown. Another wonderful method, which is my favorite, split testing, also known as A/B testing. You got a website, you want to run a test. How do you know which elements should change on own website? Here, as shown in the figure, variation A has this kind of structure and variation B has this kind of structure. And when traffic was routed, it was found that variation B had 27% conversion rate. But A/B testing is not a way to increase conversion. A/B testing is a way to test your hypothesis and nothing else. You have various hypotheses, and it is A/B testing that allows you to confirm whether your hypothesis will work out well or not. It will not solve all the problems of your business. It can only help to make the right decisions, as each of your hypotheses will be confirmed by the data. So first, formulate a hypothesis. Build hypothesis based on a web analytics. Then identify targets, whether you want to reduce bounce rate or you want to increase sell. Then select one test item. For example, you assume that the red button will be more noticeable on the page and will increase the number of registration. Then you need to test the color of button. You can test any element of your page: headings, subheadings, images, text on page, forms, prices of goods, and so on. If you test several items at once, you cannot understand which of them worked or which of them did not work. So select only one item per test. Determine the test sample size. Think about whether you will show pilot to all visitors on your page, or you will show it to a few of them. If you show everyone, then the required number of people will be less. On the other hand, if hypothesis turned out to be wrong, then if new page has low conversion rate, there will be losses as well. Determine the duration of experiment. You can have duration from 14 days to a couple of months. Then do A/B testing. After the end of experiment, you need to check which page has brought more targeted actions. For example, registrations, purchases, or page views, and use it in future. You will be now able to find out how changes in design affect the behavior of the audience. Bill Gates said we should use A/B testing methodology a lot more than we do today. Here, there is one example of Bionic Gloves. It is an online retail store. They increased total revenue by 24.7% when they removed just promo code boxes from the checkout page. Takeaway: the testing phase should be fluid and flexible. We want to ensure that the features that are passed to the delivery stage are validated and proven to work. In the final stage of the design thinking process, we take our final list of recommendations and guide the business through implementation and maintenance to ensure optimum delivery. The amazing thing about design thinking model is that it systemizes and identifies different stages and modes you would expect to carry out in design project and in any innovative problem solving project. Before we move to the next section, let me tell you one interesting story of Doug Tides, who designed medical imaging equipment. A few years back, Doug worked on a project to create MRI machine. When he got opportunity to see it installed in a hospital scanning suite, he jumped at the chance. While talking with the operator there, he told her that it is his MRI scanner and it has been submitted for the Oscars of Design. Just then he saw a frail young girl walking towards the machine. Her parents looked worried and their young daughter was clearly scared, all in the anticipation of what lay ahead, his MRI machine. Little girl started crying. Soon anesthesiologist arrived, and that was when he learned that hospitals routinely sedate pediatric patients for their scans because those are just young kids and they are so scared they can't lie still long enough. As many as 80% of pediatric patients have to be sedated. Doug believed he could come up with a better solution for children, and he was determined to make it happen. He started by observing and gaining empathy for young children at daycare center. He talked to child life specialists to understand what pediatric patients went through. He reached out to help from people around him. Next, he created first prototype of what would become the Adventure Series scanner as shown in this diagram. Here, the operator tells kids that they will be sailing inside the pirate ship and that they have to stay completely still while on the boat. After their voyage, they get to pick a small treasure from pirate's chest on the other side of the room. Now, instead of 80% needing to be sedated, number dropped to 10%. Would it be exaggeration to say that in the process, Doug also helped change the world a bit? This is the power of design thinking.